welcome to episode 30 of Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O. We got a big show today. We're very excited. Carolina versus Duke, but we're not talking about the game. It's really Carolina fans versus Cooper Flagg's mother. Some things she said that has people up in arms in that rivalry. And then we're going to talk about LeBron James versus Stephen A. Smith. And of course, Bronny's at the center of that controversy. I'm sure Johnny is going to defend LeBron as he always does. LeBron apologist is my guess. We'll see. We'll see. We have March Madness preview and also NFL free agency. I mean, there's some shocking moves, things that I don't think anyone had, not to overuse a phrase, on their bingo card this year. So we get all that. Our title sponsor, Johnny?
Our title sponsor, Estate Jewelry and Loans. Something old, something new. Estate Jewelry has a great selection of new and estate jewelry, and you can really find a unique piece for any occasion. He's got a great show. Brian's got a great showroom. It's beautiful. It has lots to choose from. It's a very cool little jewelry store. Estate Jewelry, diamonds and watches. Check them out at 2511 Battleground Ave and also at estatejewelryloan.com. His restaurant, Salsaritas Fresh Mexican Grill, located in the High Point at the Palladium and in Greensboro in the Target Shopping Center on New Garden Road. He's got the food truck, catering, daily specials, and you can go online and find them at salsaritas.com. That's salsaritas.com.
All right, so controversy coming out of the Duke Carolina game, and it wasn't about the game. Duke won in 12, 13 points, swept the season. The controversy happened late in the second half. Cooper Flagg goes down the lane alone, great pass from a teammate. He dunks the ball, and then they cut to his parents. And like a lot of Duke fans, they're loud, they're obnoxious, they know little about basketball. They're doing this, which is the sign for you got dunked on. No one got dunked on. It's a wide open dunk. So then the mom is like, take that mother effer. She has the F word and all this stuff. She's like, and she just intense, which it's sports. That doesn't bother me. But then she was interviewed, and this is what she said. And the headline is she called Tar Heel fans and their fan base classless. She said it was a very intense situation we're put into. We're taken aback by the crudeness of the UNC fans. We made our way into the arena, Flagg said. Now, she apologized for her language that was in the highlight clip, but they continue to harass us with much worse being spewed in our direction, as well as her 18-year-old son and his teammates the entirety of the game. The celebration was a moment of being so proud of our kid, and also a big F you. She just apologized for cussing. And F you to the entire Carolina fan base for being such classless a-holes. If you're a UNC fan and didn't like it, tough. Better luck next time. Go Duke. To me, it's classless to say that. I think it's embarrassing. You're doing your son, who, probably player of the year, at least All-American, top draft pick, who says the right things. He's an intense player. He's a very skilled all-around player. Saying all that, I think it's classless. I think it's almost like Alonzo or was it Lonzo Ball's dad? I forget his name. Yeah. He's been on the news forever. Where Lamar Ball, where he's saying all these things, and his son's like, "Dad, stop." And the mom's saying all the wrong things, but she's being honest. And also, it is a rivalry. I hate it, and I don't hate it.
Well, number one, I think she should have just been quiet about it. Okay. Right. Has she ever been in Cameron? I guess not as an opponent, but Cameron fans are just as bad. They do all the same crap. Shoot, when I would go there on press row, you and I went there a couple times on press row, the crazies behind me, some of the stuff that they say is, it's out of control. So it's just part of the game, part of the rivalry. And I think Mama Flagg should have maybe just let it go and don't get too involved. I know she's got her 18-year-old kid there who is a hell of a basketball player. I mean, there's no denying that. And Duke is, just superior right now over any ACC team. And it's their year, in the ACC. I don't think they're going to win it all. But she should have just let it go, because that's what happens. And if she's going to go to NBA games, it doesn't get any better at NBA games, man. So we shall see what happens on that.
And the thing I don't like about it, I mean, what she said, I think, when you say any fan base is all this way as a parent, that's fine for them to have that opinion. I actually appreciate people not always being so PC and just saying what they think they should say. But in this instance, no one's talking about the fact that Duke swept Carolina. They're talking about Cooper Flagg's mom.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be that way.
No.
And
But
so
that's the
she's,
media. They jump
yeah.
on that stuff, man.
Well, she gave it. I mean, it's like, here's some red meat. And we're like, give it to me. But, so she will not be, she, and also it's kind of a brave thing to say. It's so brave when you know you're never going to go back to Chapel Hill because he's leaving.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully he's leaving, go to the NBA, but he is a young kid, so who knows? And he's getting millions at Duke, so it's we shall see. But I hope he goes. And since we're talking about the media thing, why don't we jump into the LeBron and Stephen A. before we get into the NCAA stuff?
Okay.
So you want to start it or what?
Yeah, I mean, Stephen A. Smith was courtside, I believe, at a Knicks game, and the Lakers were playing, or they were playing the Knicks, and Stephen A. is a Knicks fan. And whatever you think about Stephen A., I love the fact he gives strong opinions. That's his job. And some people might find him annoying. ESPN obviously likes him. He just signed a $100 million contract to stay at ESPN. That's being
Yeah.
reported. But he's there, and then during one of the timeouts or whatever, LeBron goes up to him or close to the end of the game. I mean, right? It
No, it was the beginning of the game.
was the beginning.
It was during warm-ups. That was
Oh, it's
during
warm ups.
warm-ups.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he basically was like, keep my son's name out of your mouth. Kind of stole that from Will Smith.
Oh, geez.
And it's like, okay, so you are mad at Stephen A. Smith for reporting the fact that, which is, there's no denying it. And don't gaslight us as the general public by telling us that you used your name as LeBron James to basically have Bronny James as a nepo baby to come into the NBA. He's not an NBA level talent. If he would not have been drafted, if his last name was Smith and he had no relation to any NBA player, or really even just if he actually had relation to any other NBA player besides LeBron James, he would not have been drafted, and no one would have suggested him leave USC. He couldn't get playing time at on a bad USC team. He wasn't even that great in high school. Now he could be a Division One
He was
basketball.
he was a
Look at his look
McDonald's
at look.
All-American in high school.
His dad's LeBron James.
Right, but he's still a hell of a player. He's playing even when I mean, I'll argue for Brown. You know I was going to. LeBron's being a dad. When he approached Stephen A., he was being a dad. It was before the game, it was out on the court, and it wasn't like he was throwing punches or anything. But you would do the same thing about your kid. Don't talk about my kid. Don't put him down or whatever. And I don't think Stephen A. was. I think LeBron might have took it in a different way. He was kind of getting on LeBron about it. But Bronny is actually playing. I mean, when he plays in the G League, he's only 19, 20 years old. Give the kid a chance, man. When he's in the G League, he's been having some pretty good games. Does he belong on the Laker bench and playing for the Lakers? Absolutely not. But he's showing, that he's a G leaguer. He's actually got a lot of talent, and obviously he gets it from his dad, and he will get better each and every year. And let's say, let's not put him down. Let's say 3 or 4 years down the road, he could be a hell of a basketball player.
He won't be, but I don't mind. I mean, it's nothing against Bronny. It's his dad. We get, we're
He's
talking
being
about
a dad. LeBron didn't have a dad, man. Let's back up just a second. LeBron is being one hell of a father because he never had a father. His family, he is a family man. He's not out carousing at in nightclubs and stuff. It sounds like he's a hell of a husband too.
not
He's got
according
3
to
or 4
some.
kids. He's doing great with his kids.
Yeah.
He's a family guy. If you're the same way with your kids, he's being a dad, man. If someone is
No,
saying
look,
something,
with my job, and I don't think anything more than what it could be. I have had people say, "Hey, I'm in coaching, and at your son's school, I can make it. I can make it so that your son Eli makes the basketball team." A guy told me that. He said, "I can make it so your son Eli makes the basketball team. Doesn't matter
Right.
what he does in tryouts. And I said, absolutely not. Don't say anything. He wasn't on this. He was on a different coaching staff, but he was friends with everybody. He said, say the word, he'll be on the basketball team. And I go, absolutely not. He needs to earn his right on that team.
Yeah.
Eli made the first cut.
Right.
Out of 100 kids, he got down to 30. He goes to a huge school. Everyone there seems to play basketball. And he didn't make the final cut. And I was devastated for him, but I wanted him to earn it. So, no, that's being a dad. Like, removing barriers, telling teams don't draft Bronny, not that they were going to anyway, or he won't sign with you. Then Bronny's not even going to away games at first with the G League. He's like, I don't want to go away from home and all this stuff. It's like, who are you? You're not good enough to say that. And it's like,
Well,
it's
he
pure.
is good enough to say that.
No, LeBron is
LeBron
not
is.
Bronny.
LeBron is.
I'm saying,
Right.
no. My problem is not with Bronny. He's a kid whose dad is pulling all these levers and actually doing him a disservice. Guess what? He's the biggest joke in the NBA. You set your son up to be a big joke because you have an oversized ego, LeBron. He has an oversized ego. I want to play with my son. He wasn't sure how much longer he's going to play. And he pretty much pushed his son leave USC. The best thing for his son was to stay at USC, develop, and then look, okay, let's say he's a second round draft pick. He gets picked in the 40s, but he earned it. And he can feel pride about that. Now, Bronny, you know this. Everywhere he goes, people are like, oh, that's the guy. He's only in the league because of his dad. And that's what I love about sports. Typically, it's a meritocracy. It's whoever's the best. That's, and when they start seeping into sports, I'm not talking about coaching. I'm not talking about, because, that happens. Nepotism is in coaching trees and front offices all the time. But on the field or the court, it's always the best players because you want to win. So, no, I don't think LeBron's being a good dad. I'm not saying he's not a good dad. In this instance, he's not being a good dad. You rigged the system to make it so your son got drafted. Guess what? Somebody else's son didn't get drafted because Bronny James got drafted. And that's 100% not only unfair, it's not right, and it makes the Lakers look like they're not serious.
Right.
So that's my opinion.
But
And
but they
also,
are. But they are.
yeah. So
But
and so now Bronny James wasn't going to make a difference on any team. He should not be in the NBA. And have you heard of Dwayne Bacon?
I remember the name,
Exactly.
but I don't know.
He played. He started at Florida State. I believe he's a lottery pick coming out of
Yeah.
Florida State. He was with the Hornets, and he kind of went back and forth to the G League. Right. You've never even heard of him, and he was a lottery, like basically a lottery pick, good player from Florida State. He's still a somewhat young guy, probably early 30s. I watched him play at the G League. They sent him down for one game. He had 45 points. He's averaging 6 points for the Hornets.
Right.
The G League and the NBA, the gap is so wide. So if he has 25 points, okay, that's still something. But literally every college player in a Power 5 conference can score 25 points in the G League. I mean, I've been to G League games. There'll be some dude you never heard of will have 40. They're anyway.
Yeah.
So,
but they're getting minutes. They're getting minutes and all that. But I just want I thought they handled it, and I think Stephen A. handled it well. I just my opinion. You know what? LeBron was not brought up with a dad, and you're a great dad, and I feel like I'm a great dad. And
you're a great dad.
You're gonna stick up for your kids, but and it's not like Bronny is taking advantage. I mean, he's working his ass off, and I don't think LeBron would have done this if he didn't know that his son is going to be working as hard as LeBron has worked to get to where he's at. So let's let it play out a little bit. He's only a rookie. He's doing okay in the G League. Again, he doesn't deserve to be up on the Lakers. But LeBron says, you know what, I want to play with my kid. They're going to do that, okay? And LeBron is still on top of his game. LeBron isn't like he's playing 10 minutes and wanted his kids to come on. I mean, he's leading that franchise to possibly a championship. So let's see what happens. I'm going to stick up for LeBron. I mean, he's a good guy. I mean, I know he's taking advantage of the system, but you know what? Why not? They're letting him.
Well, all right. Well, I did post on social media. I think you just saw because you commented because you're like, oh my gosh. It was something to the effect of, and it was like a joke, but it was, LeBron James yells at Stephen A. Smith about, saying things about Bronny. Michael Jordan is silent when Michael Jordan's son, is dating Scottie Pippen's ex. That's why Jordan's the GOAT. And by the way, people forget this. Both of Michael Jordan's sons played Division I college basketball, and were a better player than Bronny in college. He didn't force them into the NBA.
Well, let me tell you something, and then we'll end it here because we could go on for hours. Michael Jordan don't give two shits about his kids, man. I mean,
You can't
he is
say
not
that.
that great guy, man. I
You
mean,
don't know
come
that.
on. I mean, he left his what? You know,
Hey,
it's
by the way,
very
if you want to
questionable.
go there,
Very
look, just
questionable.
look
And
it up.
why is his kids turning out like that? LeBron's kids aren't, out doing drugs. I mean, he just got I forget whatever son just got picked up for drugs, Michael Jordan's son. You don't hear a whisper out of that. I mean,
Yeah,
he had a rough upbringing,
but then you have somebody like an
with
Andy
millions of
Reid.
dollars.
Andy Reid is, by all accounts, a great husband, father, human being, and his kids have had issues. So it isn't always the case. Like, that can happen. But go look up. I'll say this: there's a podcaster, a female podcaster out there that has said that she has been at parties with LeBron, and they all signed NDAs and watched LeBron allegedly cheat on his wife. Look it up. And it's just swept under the rug.
Allegedly. I mean, yeah, I could,
Allegedly, I'm
we
not.
could
It's a
start saying that
podcaster.
right now.
It's a female
Yeah.
podcaster who said, "Yeah, has everyone signed an NDA. This is why this stuff's not out there." Anyway, I don't think LeBron's a bad guy. I think like a lot of these guys have an oversized ego. But you're gonna put the Michael Jordan stuff out there. That is at least out there. Rumors can be vicious. I don't know, but that's what she said. I don't know. All right. Let's thank our
All right.
sponsors. We have Surf Hippie Fishing, Surf Hippie Fishing PH Fishing. .com. They're great. All your fishing gear, your fishing apparel, fishing tournaments. They're really, really great. They have a great social media presence as well. Surfhippiefishing.com. Elite Performance Chiropractic, former professional football player Jeremy Phillips, and multiple time guest on our show. He has two locations, Greensboro and Winston-Salem. That gets you back on your feet, back to doing the things, and in many cases, better.
All right, we lost Jared again. Okay, let me continue on with the sponsors. We got Imperial Marketing Solutions, Jimmy Snow, sale of equipment, sales of new reconditioned computer IT hardware, reconditioned equal to brand new. He does a 3-year warranty. He does out-of-state drop shipping. Payment terms available. Call Jimmy Snow at 315-345-8349. And he really wants you, anyone listening here, you need to upgrade to Windows 11 Pro before Windows 10 Pro is obsolete. You definitely have to do it or else you're going to lose everything. Upgrade, call him, and he'll upgrade you to Windows 11 Pro before Windows 10 Pro is obsolete. We also have Schenck and Torrance Insurance, located in Greensboro, but they serve the entire Triad and state. Brian Torrance specializes in personal insurance, including auto, homeowners, and life insurance. Call him at 336-310-1320 for all your insurance needs. He takes care of all my insurance, and he's the guy to call. Again, call him at 336-310-1320. And then we have Live Hydration Spa. Live Hydration Spa provides premier treatments for their clients to achieve optimal levels of health and wellness. The IV nutrition program has been proven to be one of the most effective ways to improve overall wellness, tailored to boost energy, hydration, improve circulation, decrease inflammation, and improve mental focus. That's Live Hydration Spa. You can go online to livehydrationspa.com and you can reach them at 336 707 2796. I can't. Anyway, we have lost him again, but let me see something here.
Dude, I apologize.
Oh my
I know
God.
and if you're watching this, I don't know. I have all my notifications off. If people are watching this, the hosting site, for whatever. First of all, I don't know why it does that. If somebody calls you, it shuts you off, which I don't get that because like they know a lot of people are doing this on their phones. I have,
Right.
I just double check. All my notifications are off. Like it's not allowing any notifications, and I can make as the phone's open, and then like the school calls because they call every night, with some
Right.
message, and it's like, so I'm sorry. I'm just
Well,
gonna,
I mean,
I'm
are
gonna
you going to be able to cut all this?
not the middle. I mean, well,
Uh,
most of it will be clear. It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
all right, because well, I just did all the advertisers here
Yeah, I
that I
heard. I could
had,
hear it.
but you needed to continue Jeremy's.
All right, so Elite Performance Chiropractic, 2 locations, Greensboro and Winston-Salem, former NFL player. He's been on our podcast multiple times. And he seriously, state of the art technology with what they do, they can make you feel better than ever. Really impressive place, a really nice, 2 nice locations, Greensboro and Winston-Salem. All right, sorry for the disruption. We'll get this figured out. I'm just gonna have to start doing it from a computer because my phone, I don't know, I have everything turned off, and every time someone calls, it's somehow still coming through. I double checked again. But guess what? When I'm not, then what happens is after the podcast, I don't change anything back, and then people are like, "I have been calling you," and it doesn't show up as a call. So it's something I don't know,
Doesn't
something on
show
my
up.
end. I apologize. It's my
Sorry.
apologies.
All right,
All
let's
right.
jump into a little bit of March Madness. Well, Duke, right before the conference tournament start, they jumped to number one, man.
Mm,
Right now, you got Duke, Houston, number two, and I'm going to say the top five, and then let's put this up for discussion a little bit. Houston's number two, Auburn number three. Okay, Florida four, and Alabama five. So that's 3 out of the 5 SEC teams are in there. But here's my question to you. Maybe we can have a discussion on this. Again, quad one wins. When they're doing the tournament, that is huge. Who's got the quad
yeah.
one wins and this and that. Okay, Duke is 7-3. All their losses are against the quad one teams. Okay, but they're only 7-3. Auburn, who dropped to number 3, and I know they lost on Saturday, 16-4 quad one. How do you drop from number one when you're 16-4 on a quad one and Duke 7-3? They the committees and these voters, they go back and forth with the reasoning of why you're number one, why you're number two, why you drop, why you go here. It's ridiculous, and I'm getting sick of it, man. If you're not playing stiff competition, okay, should we put High Point up in the top 10 then because they're 27-5 and they won their conference? No, they don't have any quad one victories. But let's give kudos to High Point because, man, they finally made the NCAA tournament. I'm
Yeah, that's
happier than
awesome.
hell. That's good
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
But what
Yeah.
do you think of that? Seriously, with the
No, I
quad?
agree. It's like, oh, you're number one and you lost, and number two won. Even if they're playing a high school team, they're like, okay, you're number one now. Instead of looking
Yeah.
at and then Auburn lost to a quality ranked opponent,
Yep.
a buzzer beater, right? Basically, and it's like, and then look, I love Carolina, but Carolina's not a top 25. They're probably not even a top 35 team, and
Yep.
you actually had trouble up until late in the second half. I mean, you're down 7 in the second half. No, Duke should not. Duke is not the best team in the country. They're one of the best teams in the country, but they're not. The Auburn to me is the best team in the country.
Absolutely. And, finally, Clemson is number 10 in the country, okay, which is good. I mean, that's good for the ACC. That gives us a little something. But Clemson beat Duke, I mean,
Yeah.
so they lost to the top 10 team. And, and Auburn lost to, I can't remember who the heck they played. Was it Alabama? I think Alabama beat them by 8 points on Saturday. So it's crazy. But real quick, Lenardi right now has the SEC with 13 teams, the Big 10 with 10, the Big 12 with 10 teams, and the ACC with 3 teams.
That's
3
pathetic.
freaking teams, man.
That's pathetic. Pathetic.
So I
I
don't know
did
what's
read an
going to
article
happen.
that suggests that Joe Lunardi is like anti ACC. I don't know if that's true. I've never heard that before, but is not a big I don't know, but so he's always kind of downplayed them, but he seems to like pretty much nail it every year. I don't think he's
Yeah, he really does.
so.
The last couple of years he has. So, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, the conference tournaments, don't always tell a story. I think every year that Carolina has won a national championship in my lifetime, they lost in the ACC tournament.
Yeah,
So it's like, but
yeah,
sometimes, it is a good indicator. Duke seems to win a lot of those. They've won championships the same years. They've also won the ACC tournament and the overall number one seed, and then they don't do much. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be, I think, the one of the wildest tournaments because a lot of the blue bloods outside of Duke are kind of down. Kansas is down,
yeah,
Carolina's down, Kentucky's kind of in the
yeah,
middle. They're playing a little bit better, but Kentucky's not great. And so it'll be an interesting tournament. Odds on obviously SEC team
yeah.
would win it with all their teams, but you never know. It's definitely a crapshoot.
Anything can happen. And Carolina is in the first four out. Okay,
Yeah,
so if you think about it, if they win, two games maybe in the ACC or something, and kind of scoot up there into the semifinals, maybe they get in. And Wake Forest is the next four out. So they got a couple teams that could possibly get in, but they would have to make some serious noise on that.
yeah.
But
And the semifinals would be Carolina versus Duke if it all plays out. So
oh, that would be interesting. And then
yeah,
the only team that I'm going to say before this all starts, just look out for UConn. They're number 30 right now, believe it or not. And High Point is number 36 in the country. So I'm so happy
yeah.
for High Point, man.
Me too. Me too. Good.
And
They're
Lenardi's got High Point at a number 13 seed. So they're not going to be a 15 or 16 seed if it all ended
yeah.
today. So
Yeah,
good stuff.
they're gonna be a tough out. My eyes are on Michigan State. I mean, I think
Yep.
Michigan State, no one talking about them. If they're kind of turned into a blue blood, kind of. The last with Lizzo at least. I don't know if people consider them a blue blood. I really don't, but they should be in the conversation. But man, I mean, they had a
They're
dominant
tough.
win over Michigan, and Michigan's a good team this year. So it'll be
You
interesting to
got
see.
Michigan State, and I'm hoping the St. Johnny's make some noise. That'd be
I
awesome.
do too. I think it's a great story. I love it.
Yep.
All right, let's end with NFL free agency before somebody calls my phone again. I am so sorry. It's just annoying, and I know you're annoyed because I can still hear you. I just hear you go, "Oh my gosh, not again," and I don't blame you. But sorry for the interruption. I don't blame you, and I'm over here
think
like,
about what Kim's got to listen to, man.
well, I'm over here like wanting to throw my phone against the wall. I'm like, somebody called me on Facebook Messenger during the show, and then someone called me. The school called, but the phone's off. I don't know. All right, NFL free agency, or there are a lot of moves today, I guess. What's the top story to you? Do you think?
Well, a couple top stories. Well, this kind of surprising, but I'm happy for him too. Sam Darnold going to Seattle. Okay, 3-year, $100 million contract. But you know what? I'm glad he's getting that money because he had a great year until the playoffs. But he's going to Seattle, and Seattle traded away DK Metcalf, man. I mean, so I don't know how it all works. We don't know. Let's leave it to the GMs in that. And Devontae Adams going to the Rams. That scares me a little bit. To
Yeah,
add
that's
that
good.
to that offense.
Hmm.
Whew.
Because I mean,
And
I think you might agree that if it weren't for the snow game, that I think your Eagles would have been in trouble with the Rams.
well, they would have been in trouble, but you don't know. I mean, maybe the Eagles might have played better. I mean, you don't know. But the snow, why? I mean, the Eagles only played one other snow game, so I'm in the argumentative mood today, man.
No, good. That's what our show's for. No, the Eagles were dominant in the playoffs, but I mean, remember they were driving. They're on the 13-yard line. They score that touchdown in the game. They win the game, but they didn't. The Eagles defense
Anything
stepped
could,
up.
any
Yeah,
given Sunday, any given
yeah.
Sunday. The other one is the Jets signed Justin Fields. What do you think of that?
I don't think Justin Fields is a starter in the NFL. I mean, yeah, there's 30 teams, and I guess you only have a handful of quarterbacks that are really good, but nothing against him. He seemed like he says all the right things. He's been put in some ugly situations, but I do like the Jets' new coach. But I don't. That if I was a Jets fan, I'm like, really? That's what we're doing?
I
I
know.
don't. I don't feel good. I wouldn't feel excited about it. I don't know if they're gonna draft a quarterback as well? I mean, I would think they would, because
You would
Justin
think.
Fields is not the answer. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, and what is he going to the Steelers? Maybe that's
Well,
Giants. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing
no,
Giants now. But
I'm glad you brought that up because now that Justin Fields is gone, they're still talking to Russell Wilson, but now they're saying that the latest news is our boy Aaron Rodgers is really leaning toward Pittsburgh for 1 year. So that could
yeah,
be interesting though, because Pittsburgh, who did they just pick up? DK Metcalf.
right. That deal to me
Yeah,
is insane. That doesn't even make sense to
yeah,
pay
I
a wide
know.
receiver. He had 66. Okay, DK Metcalf's a number one receiver, but to pay
Yeah,
him, he only had 66 catches last year. I don't know, that's for a 5 year deal.
yeah.
That doesn't seem like the answer for them.
I
Now,
I questioned it.
and then some of people are saying that he and George Pickens kind of run the same type of routes. It's like, so you're kind of a duplicate. So they're wondering if Pickens is going to be there, but Pickens is way cheaper than Metcalf. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't. I mean, if I was a Steelers fan, I'm like, oh yeah, I'd like to have him on my team, but not for how much they paid for him.
yeah,
It
yeah.
was 150
5 years.
million
You're
dollars.
right, and
Yeah,
but that might interest Aaron Rodgers, I guess, to have those two guys. But now I got two. I'm getting a little worried about my Eagles. You win the Super Bowl, and then these free agents. Now they got a Super Bowl under their belt, and these other teams want to bring that Super Bowl winning formula to these different teams. We just lost a really good defensive tackle, Milton Williams. He just signed 4 years, $104 million. But we probably didn't want to pay him that. But the one that scares me, and this name will be familiar to you, Josh Sweat, our guy Josh Sweat, the defensive end on the Eagles, just signed with the Cardinals for 76 million. So he's gone now. So the Eagles must have a plan to fill these spots.
yeah, yeah. So, and then you see the Panthers. They made J.C. Horn the highest paid defensive back,
Yeah,
4 years, $100 million extension. And then Khalil Mack is back with the Chargers for $18 million deal for 1 year. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things are moving quick. This week's going to have a lot of things going on there.
who goes to
And then
Minnesota? Who goes to Min? I mean, is Minnesota really that hooked on JJ McCarthy being their starting quarterback?
they must be. They must. This is where the hubris comes in when you're a great offensive mind, as Kevin O'Connell is. He's thinking, I got JJ McCarthy. We like him. Also have Daniel Jones, who's been a Pro Bowler. I can do something with him, and maybe they can. Maybe Daniel
Yeah,
Jones. They got both those. But yeah, that's surprising. I did hear somebody suggest that if Sam Darnold made it to like the NFC Championship at least, that he'd still be in Minnesota and probably signing a contract that started with a 2 instead of a 1. Like the difference of winning
wow,
a few of those games. He won 2 games. He looked good,
yeah,
and they came up just a little bit short to the Super Bowl. He'd have a large, like a
interesting.
5 year contract closer to $200 million range. Like, ooh.
Damn,
And then the
but
Commanders, they signed left tackle Laramie Tunsil from the Texans,
uh,
which
that's
that's a
big.
that's
That's
left tackle. That's what you need.
Yes,
So yeah,
yes. No, you guys are making some good moves. I just saw that earlier today, and I'm like, man, you guys are going to be tough. And the only other thing that kind of sticks out is the Patriots are making some really good moves, and they're really building up that defense. They added what's his name, Harold Landry, Robert Spillane, and Carlton Davis from the Lions, a cornerback, and the other two guys are linebackers. They want to get back into winning ways, so we shall see. Maybe free agency helps them kind of, they're going to have to take small steps. All of a sudden, they're not going to be back in the playoffs or whatever. But they better start making some moves. With Buffalo playing the way they did. And how about that contract our boy Josh Allen signed? Not bad.
yeah. What was it? 6 year,
So,
$300 million extension. Yeah,
yes,
and he
yes.
deserves it. I like Josh Allen. I just didn't think he should be the MVP, but we don't have to go into that. I think he's
All
MVP
right, that
caliber.
should that should cover us for this week.
Yeah. All right. if you want to advertise with us, you just hit up Johnny O. He could get you hooked up, sportscarolina@gmail.com, or on all of our social medias. Subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on all the streaming platforms, and of course, all the social media platforms as well. Overtime with Jared P. and Johnny O. Until next time.